Hello, everyone.
Hey guys, how's
Hey.
it going? So we just finished Infinity War. It is 11 p.m. here in Michigan. So we're just gonna do a preview. You guys want a channel to check out Infinity War and do a spoiler review as well, and we're gonna share some thoughts about rewatching it. Now that we've seen Endgame, we're kind of going back on what we picked up on, not spoilers, of course, for Endgame. But yeah, like the biggest video for this is just talking about Infinity War, and then me and George will do a non-spoiler review for Far From Home. We'll do a spoiler review for Endgame and Far From Home after the 12th because we're all going on vacation with friends and family for July 4th. I hope you guys all do the same. So yeah, here we go. Shannon, do you want to throw us the Patreon and information, and then we'll talk about it?
Check out the description box below. There is a Patreon page. So, the way that we can continue to do these and make more reviews for you guys and watch more movies is if you guys throw us a couple bucks on Patreon, whatever you can get in there. And also make sure you like and subscribe to our channel so that we can continue to get traffic.
Yep, that's pretty much it. Yeah. So Shannon, what did you think of Infinity War?
This was a crazy movie. So I had not seen very many of the Avengers movies. I've seen Avengers and I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2.
Mhm.
I just watched Spider-Man for the channel. But that's it. So I really haven't seen a lot. So most of this movie was me going, Fahad, what the heck is that thing? George, who is that? Why are they doing this? Why are they throwing that thing in there? Why are they? And a lot of this was them pausing it and explaining things to me. So
Yeah.
my suggestion is if you're going to watch this movie, go watch the other 40 movies that come before it, however many there are.
There's 22,
because
but yeah.
there's a lot.
Yeah.
How many hours of content is that? At like 48 hours of content.
Well,
That's a lot.
Well, you've seen majority of them, like you said. You've seen Avengers, you've seen the Guardians, you've seen some of the Thors. You said.
Fell asleep during the second Thor. And
I don't think anybody likes the second Thor movie.
Okay, good.
And so really, you just gotta watch Black Panther, third Thor, Captain America 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And that's
It's only
that's
like
4 movies.
8 hours of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay. All right.
There's a
It's
little
like
bit
12 hours of my life.
I mean, before you watch Endgame. There's a little bit of Thor 2 you might need to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
A
Yeah.
little bit.
But I think Infinity War Endgame kind of has it like capsule. Like the whole focus is Thanos and his story, and Infinity War is really just about it's a Thanos movie. These guys, the Avengers, the Guardians, they're all side characters. They're really just trying to figure out what Thanos is doing. They're not really out there trying to figure out how the Avengers come together and save the world. All they know is there's this guy. He's collecting stones. He has a plan. We don't know what he wants to do with that plan until the very end of the movie, and that's when you realize like what the real true story is. So, because what do you think of Thanos? Do you think they did a good job with him?
Thanos was the most interesting character in this movie.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot because Chris Pratt's in this movie, and I always just want to watch Chris Pratt because he's Chris Pratt.
Right.
But he was fascinating because he's self-sacrificing in order to be evil, but in his mind, it's all good.
Right.
And in his mind,
It's like this is the right thing to do.
you can
Yeah.
totally see where he's coming from.
Right. Right.
Because yeah, he's right. If he did kill off half the planet, there would be less hunger. There would be less pain.
But you're committing
But
genocide.
he doesn't see the emotional side.
Right.
He sees the logic side of it, and he goes, "This is good," but he doesn't see the emotion side of it
Yeah.
and go, "Oh, this part of it's bad." So I totally relate to that because I'm a very logical person, and I often do not see the emotional side of arguments. When
Yeah.
people throw emotion at me, I go, "I don't care about that. This is what logically makes sense."
Right.
So that really hit me when I was like, "Oh, I see Thanos' side of this argument. Like that makes sense to me."
Yeah.
But he's so wrong.
Right. It's like I think a lot of people walked out of watching Infinity War last summer, and I think a lot of us felt the same way. It's like, well, he doesn't have evil intention. He's not doing it for power, or for money, or for anything like that. He's legitimately his plan is bad, but he's trying to save the universe. He thinks that the only way to not destroy the universe is to take out half the beings in the entire universe. And if they do that, then the universe can go on and life will because they show a part in the movie his home planet. He went to thousands of years ago on his home planet when they were starving, resources were going down. He said, "Hey, like if we just like do like a half the planet kills itself, then the other half could survive." But they were like, "Oh, that's evil." But then guess what happened? They showed that Titan, his home planet that they were on, died.
Yeah.
And so
Because
it's
it
kind of
doesn't
like
really work in the end because yes, there's limited resources, but people are also a resource.
right, right.
So if you take away half of your workforce, who's gonna feed the kids and who's gonna it doesn't really add up in the end. But it makes sense on paper.
But not like
But
it makes
not-
logically make sense, but it doesn't make humanity wise make sense.
It doesn't actually work at the end of the day. It just adds up. The numbers add up on paper, but then you're missing and you're not taking into account so many other factors.
Right, right. And you haven't seen Endgame, so you don't even know what the aftermath of him snapping his fingers is gonna do to the
No,
universe
I was
and to these
so
characters.
confused. I was, why is he in a red place? Why is he
Well, that's his own planet.
okay?
Yeah, that's
Where did the glove go?
no, that's been confirmed that it was his home planet, Titan.
After he snaps his fingers.
No. The
was gonna
battle
say.
with Iron Man,
Okay.
Star-Lord, Doctor Strange,
Because
Spider-Man.
you were talking about after he snaps his fingers, he comes up and it's like a red planet, right?
Yeah, he's on like this
Yeah.
red planet with the little.
Oh, the
Gamora.
farm.
Yeah.
No, before the
No, the
farm.
little Gamora. Little
When he
Gamora.
sees Gamora.
Yeah, where is that?
That's kind of limbo.
I think that's maybe just
Oh.
Thanos'
Purgatory?
mind. Yeah.
it's
I-
I believe there was a theory
Yeah.
that anybody who snaps their fingers with the Infinity Stones goes to that place, and they end up kind of experiencing something,
That
but-
changes them.
sort of. Yeah.
Maybe that could
But
be
that is
really
just a
interesting.
theory.
Maybe Thanos is gonna be the good guy in the next movie. I don't know.
Maybe.
Does that mean yes?
You'll see.
I think that's
Yeah.
a yes. I
I-
think that's a yes.
I think Thanos is more under his plan, his logic, his words are all thought out the way he does it, and I think the relationship between Gamora and Thanos is so pivotal to this movie. Without Gamora, there's no heart for Thanos because you can tell Thanos really loves Gamora.
Okay, so let me ask you guys this, because Gamora looks at him and goes, "This is not love," and she wants no part of it.
Right.
So what is it then?
But he still loves her. She can't deny it. So even though she's saying this isn't love, to Thanos, this is love, and the only way to get the Soul Stone is to kill his only daughter that he loves the most. Because he has children, like he has other children that he adopts because he's a being that can't have kids, so he just goes around adopting children all over the universe.
And then
But his
tortures them.
favorite, yeah, like Nebula and the other aliens that show up trying to collect the stones against the Avengers, they're all his children. But I feel like Gamora is his favorite. Gamora was the one that he connects to the most, even in the comics. They have a very deep love-hate relationship, and you see that even on screen with this because like when he has the Reality Stone, he pretends that Gamora did get him, killed him, and he was like, I wonder if she'll cry or she'll care. And you see her like tear up and cry because she had to kill her father, her stepfather. And Thanos goes like, I didn't know if you actually loved me or even cared, but it's nice to know that that you do care as much as I care about you. You know what I'm saying? And like there's this weird duality, but he's at the same time she's like, I want to love you, but you're a psychopath. And like you're hurting my sister, and I'm really close to Nebula, and I like her, Nebula and Guardians of the Galaxy too. Really had that like sister. They stop hating each other.
Great. That was so good in Guardians.
Yeah, and you get to see like her saying like, look, if you stop torturing Nebula, I will take you to the place where you can get the Soul Stone. And she does it for Nebula. If Nebula wasn't there, of course she wouldn't have done that. But she's trying to save her sister the whole time because she's being tortured.
Yeah.
So I think the foundation of the entire heart is really Gamora.
That's where a lot of the emotional core of the movie comes from. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
especially when eventually she throws her off the cliff to kill her to get this.
Spoilers.
Well, this is a spoiler review. But okay, so
I know, but yeah.
what is your overall feeling about? Okay, let's talk about some of the death scenes. Groot saying "Father." If you turn on the subtitles in Infinity War, before he disappears, he looks at Rocket Raccoon and goes, "Father, like help me." And then
So, that was the saddest part. But I'm not fully convinced that these people are all dead because they make too much money for Disney. So I think all of these characters are coming back in the next movie.
I think
That's
I
my
think we
guess.
all kind of had the similar
Well,
theory. I would say.
They make
you'll kind of
Disney
see-
$1 million bajillion dollars a piece. They're not going to kill them all off.
Something that I was reading up on before I watched Endgame was that basically the characters that are killed stay killed.
So like Loki,
Yeah, Loki.
Okay, fair.
So
Vision
yeah.
gets like killed because he gets the gem pulled out of his head.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
who
he
cares
actually
about those
died.
ones? Okay.
Yeah, and once again, that was one of the reasons why I think Doctor Strange, like, he didn't want Tony Stark to be like killed because if you watch, he was about ready to get like literally killed by Thanos.
Yeah, right.
Right.
But instead, he just got where Doctor
Sucked
Strange. Yeah, well, Doctor Strange was snapped away, but Tony Stark wasn't.
Oh.
So in reality, that really saved his life completely.
But you think about it, Doctor Strange just kept on saying the whole movie, no matter what happens, I am not sacrificing you or your kid, Spider-Man, for this
That's
stone.
what he said the
Yeah.
whole
Throughout.
time.
And then at the end he's like, wait, don't kill Tony Stark. Here's your stone. And then like
That's
Tony
pretty
Stark
funny.
just looks at him and was like,
what on earth, man?
what are you doing? He's like, and he says it was the only way. We're in the end game now. Foreshadowing, of course, which the next movie is called the End Game.
Yeah.
Okay, but so, wow, I'm tired. What was I saying?
Doctor Strange.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Doctor Strange has the time
The
stone,
green one, yeah.
and he sees the future and tells them that there's only one way that all of this can end.
Yeah, he saw like what 15 million possibilities, and then how many? And then Tony Stark goes, "How many did we win?" And he's just like, "1." So I think what Doctor Strange
Why didn't he just go, okay, guys, here's what we need to do it?
because it won't happen then.
Exactly.
He changed the future.
Problem is that if someone knowingly goes into a situation knowing the future, then that could mess up the future.
Because now they know, and they might not do the thing they're supposed to do.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So I think the reason he gave the stone is he didn't do it to help Spider-Man or Tony Stark or Iron Man. He did it because it was the only way to win in the end. He was logical
It
about
had
it.
to be. It
Oh,
had
yeah.
to be the only way to win. And I think that a lot of those characters that got whisked away
Yeah.
are going to come back. And the only reason I'm saying that is because of how much money they make Disney. Like a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
Okay.
They kind of hinted at, something's gonna have to happen to bring the characters back even before Endgame came out. We just didn't know how or what was gonna happen, who was gonna come back, all that stuff. So Endgame really is
So
you're only
Loki's
watching.
dead for sure.
Yeah, you're only waiting a few weeks right now. We had to wait a year and just go like,
What?
what? Like
that
this
was
movie.
really rough.
I know, because like every day we're like, man, I just want to know what happens in Endgame.
Yeah.
And like, what happened to all these people? Like, how are they gonna fix this?
I think that's why I think that's part of the reason, honestly, why they got so many people to watch Captain Marvel was because it was in between. So you're like,
Oh,
I
yeah,
gotta
yeah,
watch
yeah.
this movie.
Yeah, because
I
they
wanna
hinted
know.
at Captain Marvel being a huge part of Endgame. So a lot of people did need to watch. First, they wanted to watch Captain Marvel
Of
for the tie-in with Endgame, but also they wanted to just be like, well, what happens next with Endgame? And I think that's the most exciting thing. Man, Spider-Man's death. What a scene!
That was the one. I was like, there was one scene in this that got to me a little bit.
Gamora
and
got
I
to me,
couldn't
though.
remember. No,
Yeah.
I wish it had, but it didn't. I don't know. I don't know much about that character. I guess.
Okay.
But but I just watched Spider-Man.
Homecoming.
So yeah, his like death scene with Tony Stark. I was like, oh my gosh, that's sad.
Right.
And
And then Tony Stark's in the beginning of Infinity War was like, I don't want you to be here. You're just a kid. It's like, I wanted you to be at home away from all of this. And he kind of sneaks into the ship. And then, of course, what happens is Tony Stark's nightmare comes true. Now, this kid that he mentors and loves very much. As you can tell, they have a father-son relationship, or like mentor-son relationship going on. Like his nightmare is coming to life. He's watching Spider-Man, this poor kid, like
And he like
Turn into
hugs,
the-
falls
He's
on
like, "I don't
him,
wanna
and
go,
I
I don't
don't,
wanna
I don't
go."
want to go. And oh man, yeah, that's rough.
funny story about that. When I was in my IMAX screening for Infinity War,
Yeah,
I mean, kids were wailing.
I believe it.
Kids were like, Spider-Man's dead, what, daddy? Like, they were like, it's like, like they had like and I don't think parents knew it was gonna go. It's like, it's a superhero movie. They're not expecting anything
Yeah.
to happen. Like, that's
Wow.
serious. But here, these little kids wearing their little Spider-Man hand and has their Spider-Man toys and their Spider-Man shirt, and they're so excited to see Spider-Man in Avengers, and then boom,
He's gone.
he's gone. Not
Yeah.
only gone, he's gone in the most tearful, saddest
It's sad.
way possible.
Yeah.
And they're probably just like, parents have to have like a conversation about death, I'm sure. It's like the open doors that they weren't expecting. There was actually a Twitter hashtags like hashtag my kids did not see Spider-Man dying coming. Now they want to learn philosophy and death or something like that,
Oh,
And it's like,
ouch.
but it's kind of like, well, it's good. Like, somebody was like, it's good for kids to learn that, life, there is life, but there's also death, and it's a circle.
And now they're gonna learn that you can just come back for the next movie and it's all good.
Well, they didn't know that at the time. I think when they were watching Infinity War, they had no idea what was going to happen. I don't think they even knew there was going to be another Avengers movie.
Yeah.
It was more just like a shock, like, wait, what? That's how it
So
ends?
this was gonna be the last one, because it ends on like a total cliffhanger.
No, it wasn't. I don't think it was ever.
I don't think they're ever
to be
planning
last.
to be done with Marvel movies. They're
No,
building
no,
a
no,
theme
no.
park
Yeah.
right now.
No, and that's
Okay.
not what I'm saying. I'm just
Okay,
saying, like,
yeah.
when we were, you don't think about the next movie. You're watching the movie, because you're like, hey, and the new Avengers movie is out. And
Oh, you're
sitting in
talking
theaters.
about the kids. I thought you meant the
Like,
producers.
Oh, no, I'm sure they had
okay.
a plan.
All right.
I'm just
gotcha.
literally talking about the audience, because a lot of the audience
Yeah.
that I saw it with were like, well, I hated that movie. Is that how it ends? And somebody's like, no, they're making a new
No,
movie.
this
Like,
is like chapter
okay.
5 of 70. Yeah.
Right. So just because of that reason alone, and I think the best thing for me personally, about Infinity War is just let's talk about it, cinematography,
Oh yeah.
music,
Wow.
set pieces.
Chris Pratt. I'm sorry. I keep going.
I do
Yeah.
like his lines with Thor.
He is so
Are
funny.
you mocking me?
Are you lowering your voice?
You're
No.
talking- are you
This is how I talk.
Drax like, you're copying the man god.
What kind of grenades are these? Because I'm gonna clip some of them on my belt.
Yeah. I think like just watching finally these characters that they've been hinting at for so long, watching the Guardians interact with Tony Stark and Spider-Man, and Rocket and Thor having this more power rapid, and just the little things, and that heartfelt. And Thor got to me when Rocket Raccoon comes up to Thor. He's like, hey, so like, this is kind of a big deal. It's like, not really. I've been around for thousands of years. I've watched my brother, my mother, my father, my sister, everyone I know basically die. And like, he's like really like tearing up. He's like, are you sure you're good? Like, that's some heartache stuff right there. Like, are you sure you're up for this? And he's like, oh yeah, I'm fine. It's rage and anger, it helps me win the battle and all that stuff. And like, in that moment, like, he comes in with the axe, tries to kill Thanos, and Thanos just looks at him and goes, you should have gone for the head.
Ouch.
Boom. So now there's another like level of like his pain, because he's like trying to build this axe
Mhm.
for the purpose of like Thanos, to kill Thanos.
Yeah.
And he messed up again. First he watches his entire race of people die, and his brother die, and his friend, who's Idris Elba in the movie? I forgot his name, the black
I
guy.
can't remember his name.
I
either.
can't either. But he's a good
Yeah.
character.
Sam?
He's a very big character too.
But anyways, the point is like,
Oh,
so
Nick
he's
Fury.
no. And then he watches his brother die and all of his people die on the ship. And then he's like, on a mission to kill Thanos. And again, he messes up. Still, Thanos still wins in the end. He snaps his finger and like wipes out half the universe. And Thor is just standing there with his like stupid axe on, like Stormbreaker on the ground. And he's just like, well, that sucks.
Yeah.
So I really felt for Thor. I think just watching him really grow in this movie and where they took his character was kind of really surprising. Even in Endgame, Thor's character, I think like has one of the most like pivotal character developments, I would say, in the entire Avengers.
I would have to agree. Now, something I do want to touch off on was the what was it characters I should say from Black Panther.
Oh yeah.
When the I forgot what his name is, but basically when the Black Panther gets dusted, like he's literally in the act of helping up his captain of his army and her general or whatever she was.
Yeah.
And she I think they really portrayed very well just how much it didn't feel real for them.
Yeah.
Like
right.
he's in the act of helping her up, saying this is no place to die,
Yeah.
and suddenly he just disappears, and she's just like so
Confused.
stunned,
Yeah.
And I think that was really a good way of portraying that.
But can you imagine that setting? Like you're just standing with somebody and they just start disappearing. What do you even say to like what just happened? Where'd they go? What's going on? Like I think everybody would just be confused if you saw your friends or family or co-workers or whatever it is, like just
Get
start
raptured.
yeah, basically like they
Yeah.
just disappear. But you don't know what Thanos is doing. You're on the other side of the planet trying to go to work. You're trying to like feed your family, just trying to take a nap or something. You wake up, your wife's gone. You wake up, your kids are gone. You wake up and like half your company that you work with and your friends and family just disappear overnight, but nobody knows. Nobody has any answers. They're just confused. I think that is the most interesting concept in this whole situation because you're like, even though we're following the Avengers and they're setting like what Thanos is trying to do, a lot of the people have no freaking clue. And they have nobody to talk to. They're probably just like freaking out in the rest of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, and that, like, you should see the extra scene with Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury, and
the
Robin.
car.
Yeah, and like she
Robin.
disappears, and like people are crashing their helicopters and cars. I mean, like, I'm just imagining.
Motorcycle just laying on the street.
Yeah.
The guy just completely disappeared.
Right. And you're just kind of like watching it all go down, and you're like, what is going on? And then Nick Fury is like, Code Red. Why? We don't know. It's just, this is chaos. This is like a zombie apocalypse without the zombies. It's just craziness. Yeah. And then he, of course, Nick Fury, of course, disappears too.
That reminds me, honestly, a little bit of what was that one movie? Hayden Christensen was in it. It was
Speak louder so that.
it was the light on was it the disappearing of the light on something street? I don't remember what it was.
I've never even heard of it.
I
have no idea what
It
you're
was an
talking
interesting one. It was
Okay.
one where literally light started to disappear.
Light?
Light. And with it people. So
Like light.
there were more
light,
shadows.
Light of the
like
sun. Light
yeah,
of
the sun
bulbs?
started to and everything. Just
What is it
light
called?
in general. I can't remember.
That's very interesting
But it's
concept.
like-
Actually, you got me interested now.
It's a very interesting. It's like a horror movie. But just like kind of thriller too.
Huh.
But yeah, it's where light disappears. It reminded me a lot of that, like the dusting.
Oh, the
Like
dusting
people
reminds you
just
of that movie.
disappearing. Like that was kind of
like the light disappears and then the people disappear in the light.
yeah, people would disappear in the darkness and then you
Oh.
just wouldn't see them anymore.
Shoot,
And it was-
I might look into that. That sounds
It
interesting.
was an interesting movie.
Yeah.
Are we officially calling it dusting? Is that what
The snap. Isn't it called the snapping?
The
well,
snapping.
Yeah,
So
I think that's
what's
what it was-
snapping,
They
guys?
they call it the blip.
or the blip.
The blip.
I like the
was-
snapping better.
Yeah.
But I think people named it the snapping because Thanos snaps and of course half the universe disappears. But yeah, okay. So what would you rate Infinity War? Would you say it's one of the best Marvel movies they've made, or how would you rate it?
I still think Guardians of the Galaxy is the best Marvel movie ever made. Both of them, 1 and 2. I think it's a good Netflix movie, honestly. But that's me coming in with zero knowledge of the other 22 movies. So
Yeah,
would I have paid to go see this in theaters? Probably not. But it was a good watch on Netflix.
yeah. I would say it's definitely worth it because we've kind of been watching the we've been. I think me and George have been watching every movie from the get go. We knew this was kind of coming, like they've been alluding to it. So for us, it was definitely a go see in theaters type of a movie. But I get where you're coming from.
I'm sure
If
it is
you-
for most humans on the planet, but for me, I haven't seen the other ones.
Yeah.
But this was worth watching.
Yeah, you're really just catching up. with
I'm
the
catching
other
up.
reviews.
I
Yeah,
am,
which is
yeah.
good. We wanna see a review of Captain Marvel and
Oh.
Black Panther and all the other movies. It'd be fun to watch you go through that in time, not like
I am
Immediately.
excited for Captain Marvel because I really like Brie Larson. I know she's been controversial, but her
In a
movie,
good way, though. I loved everything she said.
Yeah.
I'm on her side.
Her movie, Short Term 12, if you haven't seen it,
Mhm.
go watch it. Love that movie. Discovered it. It's a little indie movie I discovered on Amazon before she was ever well known. Short Term 12, it's good. Go see it.
All right. Well, that's good to know.
Mhm.
Interesting. So yeah, that's our Infinity War review. Thank you guys for.
Do we want to do the?
Yeah, I'm moving forward. Don't worry.
Okay.
I haven't forgotten. George is like, wait, aren't we talking about the next Spider-Man movie too? Yeah.
Oh,
That was our
yes.
Infinity War. Of course, we've seen it before, but it did help recap and kind of play along into some of the foreshadowing in this movie after watching Endgame that I didn't know was foreshadowing until after Endgame, but that all jazz. But yeah, we saw Far From Home 2 nights ago. I've had a lot of time to kind of sit on it and really reflect on it and like where it was going. First and foremost, non-spoiler review, of course. I think the best thing about that movie is watching Spider-Man deal with the world after the snap.
Yeah.
And like what that would look like. Without any spoilers. You have no idea what we're talking
Interesting.
about, but
Well, not even really the world after the snap. I mean, well,
it was definitely
Well,
after the snap.
it was after the snap,
Yeah.
but I mean, like,
I mean, years have gone
This
and they
is-
just came back looking like exactly the same.
Did
no,
Mary,
that's true. That's true.
did MJ get snapped?
We'll find out.
Yeah.
But it's weird, like, when they got snapped out of existence, when they got snapped out of existence, years had gone by. So when they came back, they were still expecting it was 2018, but no, it was 2023.
Yeah.
And that's such a weird setting to walk into, like your little brother who's like, snotty and annoying.
Wait, it's 2023 in the new Spider-Man movie?
Yeah, so we don't tell you what happened, but there is a moment where they come back and they're like really reflecting on like from that little kid, he was so annoying and stupid, and like they've aged, they've grown mature, they've lived a life, and they came back like, whoa, it's been 5 years, what the heck, and like
Yeah.
seeing that perspective is very science fiction-y. I latched onto that hardcore, and just watching those characters really wrestle with the fact that Peter and Ned and MJ and all of them are like, whoa, like what happens now? Like, what do we go back to the same grade? Do we join? Have we graduated and move on to like college? Because all of our friends that we went to school with are in college. Like that.
Oh, yeah.
That's
so
such-
funny.
I know, but it's such an interesting, weird thing to play with because our minds aren't. Yeah, you're thinking of that one scene,
I'm
aren't you?
thinking of that one scene. Okay, we're not gonna spoil it. Don't worry, we won't spoil it. But it's really funny.
Yeah.
If you can go see it, it's really good.
It's I was really surprised by Far From Home. The more I've sat on it, the more I've thought about it, I'm like, wow, that's a really good movie. I know there's some cheesy scenes with
Yeah,
Jake
there were a couple.
Gyllenhaal and some of the things that they did, but overall, that movie is very, very unique. Oh, sorry, I touched the table to shake the camera. It's a very unique movie in that setting. Also, I loved the MJ Peter relationship.
Yeah.
I think that was mind blowing because she was kind of in the background in Homecoming. She was like this
Not in there.
weirdo, nerdy girl who's like, where like Peter's kind of like, she's weird. Like I don't want to talk to her. And like in this movie, she kind of has grown, and like Peter's like, whoa, I really like this girl all of a sudden. And seeing that like story play out within the movie is really cool. I think the MJ Peter relationship is really well done. I think the Happy and Peter relationship is so fun to watch. Because not
It's
like,
true.
do you remember Happy from Homecoming?
Yeah.
He likes the ant, and it's really funny.
Okay. Alright. Interesting.
Yeah, and so that was fun to watch, and like Happy really takes his role seriously with Spider-Man. He's like, well, if like I'm gonna do everything I can to give this kid like
Everything he needs.
to be a hero.
Yeah.
And that's really cool to watch. And I think the special effects with what they did with Mysterio. No spoilers, but there's some really cool, interesting things with the effects in this movie that I didn't see coming. George, go on. Tell us a little bit about what you thought overall.
Well, I mean, obviously without spoilers, it's a little hard to try to nitpick through.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really a good movie. There were, as you said, well, pretty much everything you said. You know, there were one or two cheesy scenes that it's kind of like they sort of had to do them because otherwise the story wouldn't necessarily make all that much sense.
Right.
But yeah, it was very interesting. There are some huge spoilers for after Endgame in this movie, so yeah, you'll need to see Endgame before this movie for sure.
I don't think it would make sense without Endgame.
It would not make any sense without it.
Yeah.
So yeah. That being said, it was a really good movie. If you're like following the Marvel universe, definitely watch it. Yeah, it was pretty great.
Spider-Man's always my favorite superhero ever since Tobey Maguire.
Ouch.
I didn't like Tobey Maguire, but hey, everyone's different.
No, but ever since that movie came out, I always liked Spider-Man better than all the other.
Oh, like heroes, you mean?
Yeah, superheroes in general. Spider-Man is my favorite. So I'm really looking forward to Far From Home.
Yeah, I would say go see it in theaters. That would be my
Yeah.
review for Far From Home. Would you say the same? Far From Home.
Absolutely. I
See
mean,
it
like
in
you don't
theaters.
want to wait till later to see these.
And it does look really. It's probably one of the most beautiful movies I've seen.
Yeah.
Like the art, just the color and like the setting. It's just like I can't really put a word on it, but it's just it looks pretty. Yeah, I don't know
It
how else
does.
to say.
Is Tony Stark in Far From Home?
He has
He
he,
disintegrates.
he has a huge part
Or
to
did he
play.
snap?
You'll find out.
Snap?
But you'll see.
You gotta watch Endgame.
Yeah.
As we said, you
Yeah.
gotta watch Endgame before you watch Far From Home.
Because it's not gonna make sense what they do with Tony Stark. But he has a presence for sure.
Big thing. This movie is almost worth it just to see the after credits scene. So stay for it.
If
Don't
you
miss that.
like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies, one of the after credits
Oh, I already know what they're gonna do just from you saying that. They're gonna have him dress emo and sing and dance.
No, not at all.
Okay. All right.
Oh my
You-
goodness.
I screamed in the middle of our theater. I was like, no, freak! Like it was the end credit scene.
Does Tobey Maguire make a cameo?
You'll
No.
see. No, don't say anything. You'll see.
Oh, okay. I'm not saying anything.
It's a mind blowing scene. If you love the old Sam Raimi movies, it's a scene that you're just gonna stand
Is
up
Willem
and just
Dafoe in it?
we can't tell
can't
you.
say.
It's
Oh,
a
you
huge
guys
spoiler.
are killing me.
It
Okay.
was awesome.
But if
And
you-
literally people were like applauding like
Yeah.
the whole
How
period of
they
this. It
how they
was-
connected to the Sam Raimi movies is very interesting.
It is.
Very, very interesting.
Do they into the Spideyverse?
Maybe.
Oh.
You'll have to find out.
That's
it's so good.
It's
No,
so
It's
good.
just so good.
It was so
You gotta
good.
see it.
I was like freaking. I just looked just like, oh my god, is this actually happening right now?
But do they?
It's
Is
really
it
good.
like into the Spideyverse? Do they do that?
We can't tell you.
No,
We
I
can't.
don't
We
think so.
no. Don't say anything. That's even a spoiler.
Just saying it's not like something this is
It's something
Yeah.
big, but
It
we
is
can't.
huge.
it
It's
is
huge and we can't say
huge.
what it is. So.
Yeah,
Oh,
Go
right.
enjoy it.
All right.
But
I'm looking
anyways-
forward to it.
yeah. Do not leave when the credits start. You stay until the lights turn
Both
on.
of
and
them.
Both of them.
Both of them. There's
Yeah.
2 after credit scenes.
And they're
so
both really good.
They are.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
they
Thank
definitely.
you for telling me that. 'cause
yeah,
I
they
would have
def-
left.
I think I was more thinking about the after credits than the entire movie.
Yeah.
Because of what
by,
they did.
By the time you watch that, you're just like, oh my goodness.
Your mouth is like literally on the floor. You're like, how? What? What is
Okay.
happening right now?
It's pretty crazy.
All right.
But yeah, like we're gonna do okay. So that's our review for Spider-Man: Far From Home. But we're gonna do non-spoiler. We're gonna our next. So we're going on vacation. My wife and I will be in Petoskey, up north Michigan, for a week from July 7th through the 12th. So we're not gonna have another episode until after the 12th. But in the meantime, Shannon's gonna go see Endgame, and she's gonna do a spoiler review for Endgame, and she'll do a spoiler review with all 3 of us for Far From Home when we get back. So look forward to our next video. Send us your questions if you have questions about Endgame or Spider-Man you've seen and you want us to talk about. You guys have our email. It's geekdommovies@gmail.com. You can also leave a comment on this video. You can also go to the website. There's so many ways to connect to us. I'm kind of like over all of it. So if you do write an email or a comment, I'll get to it. I promise. I know you guys had Infinity War questions that we can get to tonight because it's so late right now. But we promise you the next video we do with Endgame, I will answer all of you guys' questions. I will ask those questions to our truly Disney person, Shannon, what she thought of those. And me and George will also do it. I know I'm like lagging behind on the emails. I apologize. It's just been a crazy few weeks on our end here. But honestly, like we're blown away by the amount of people that have been watching our videos, submitting those questions, submitting comments and all kinds of stuff. It is mind
Keep them
blowing.
coming.
Yeah, like you guys
Excellent.
are just like just flooring us with and it giving us encouragement to keep going and do more videos and things like that. So we literally did this for you guys because you wanted us to do an Infinity War review after watching Endgame. So here we are, we watched it. So don't, we're not lagging by any chance. We want to hear from you guys. You're our core community, you're our core group, and we're always going to be here. That's it for now. Remember, 12th after July 12th, we'll be back. That's probably like a Sunday, so we'll probably do July 15th, whatever that Wednesday, Thursday is. We're gonna do that. Also, $40 giveaway. Forgot to tell these guys. I'm gonna do a $40 giveaway for AMC Theaters. If you like, subscribe, and comment on our YouTube channel.
All right.
One lucky viewer who has liked, subscribed, and left a comment and question on our YouTube could potentially win a $40 gift card. And since we're a new channel, the chances of winning goes higher because the
Pretty
more
high.
comments, the more likes you do, the more comments you leave, the chances of you winning that $40 AMC gift card goes up. So last week of July, we'll reveal who the winner is. One of you lucky people out there will win a $40 gift card. That's a 2-month subscription to AMC A-List. You can see 2 months of free movies if you win.
If you tag a friend, that's an entry as well.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
There you go.
Sure, let's add that to the list. If you tag a friend in our YouTube videos, there you have more of a chance to win. Go to our page, geekdommovies.com. You'll see the list for.
Hey,
we got a
Rewind Wesley
comment.
says, "Keep up the good work."
Oh, thank you,
Thank you,
Rewind Wesley.
Rewind
Thank you for
Wesley.
watching. That's awesome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. But if you go to our YouTube channel and you leave a comment and subscribe, and we will the last week of July I think it's like 20 something of July, I will reveal who the winner is. We're gonna share your name live on this channel. We'll we'll leave you an email and a comment letting you know you won. So please watch it the last week of July. So if you win, I can send you the $40 gift card because I will need your email or your address or something to give it to you. So please don't forget to leave a comment or share with that. And yeah, thank you guys. We're so excited. Happy 4th of July. If you're not living in the United States, July 4th is our Independence Day. Celebrate whatever you celebrate in your part of the world. And we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks when we're back. We'll do the Endgame review, spoiler review. We'll do the Far From Home Spider-Man review. And of course, after that, we got the big kahuna himself, the live action Lion King.
Yes.
I'm sure this one's freaking out. I'm freaking out too.
Out.
So we'll definitely do that. And yeah, we're excited. July is kicking off to like some amazing stuff here. So yeah, that's it for us. Patreon page, I think, is in the link.
Should be in the link in the comment section in a couple of hours when we get around to it.
Oh yeah, and I'll timestamp it.
Yeah,
You
he'll
guys
be doing
always-
timestamps and
Not a lot of
Patreon
timestamp
link
for
in
this
there.
one because it's literally just Infinity War and Spider-Man. But some of you guys care to skip things ahead, so I'll definitely leave timestamps in the bottom. Thank you, Rewind Wesley. Thank you for your comment.
There you
Thank
go.
you
He
for
gets an
encouraging
entry.
us. Yeah, you said good work. So we appreciate you watching us live. And that's it. Bye-bye.
Bye guys. See you later.
Have a great Independence Day.
We're out.
And boom.